my 7 best friends in yoga practice. So I'm not talking about physical human friends. I'm talking about my protocols and habits that have really helped me a lot in my journey of life. I'm now 57 years old, and I started this journey from around, from childhood, early childhood, probably as early as I could remember, right? But I could remember being religious and faithful and so forth from around 5, 6 years old, right? And so forth. So I'm going to discuss the positive benefits of 7 of these amazing protocols in this video. And for those of you like the contents of my video, please don't forget to press like and subscribe if you haven't already. And this will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And if you drop a comment, I would love to hear from you as well. This is so important, to get feedback from my audience. And also, if you could share this video, in your favorite social media platforms or to the people that are important to you, I would greatly appreciate that, as well as you would probably be helping someone in a way that you never know, right? So for those of you who don't know me, I am Osman, hashtag the blind Muslim yogi. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and spiritual ailments. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching now for 46 years. In that period, I had the good fortune to be able to study under some amazing masters from different cultures, from different schools of thought across the globe, from the Far East, the Middle East, the West, including the scientific communities, right? And I created my own protocols, basically adapting them to the 21st century, making them faster, easier, quicker, more time efficient, and results oriented. To that end, I now have students in over 100 countries. And my favorite protocol is my 5-minute yoga and meditation protocol, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, and where you can also get more information about my services. Please also remember my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So my 7 best friends and how it and from the scientific, basis behind most of them, which I will give to you, is what I've found is that human relationships did not sustain very long in my life, right? Um, I mean, the longest relationship I had was, with my mother that I left by the age of 18 and been self-supporting from the age of 18 afterwards, right? I'm now 57 years old. So I would say that was like my longest relationship with a human, close relationship. And of course, traveling a lot and, getting involved in my own life and business and so forth, you become a bit, of course, your parents are your parents, you don't cut ties with your parents. But children of mine cut ties with me, you know, because they change. I don't know, their new generation, or this is, part of how life is on earth these days. And I don't feel I gave them any reason though. But, these things cut off, right? Human relations. But the relationship that I had with yoga has benefited me till this day. So recently, I was suffering with chest pains, uh, and after having gone through a very heavy energy healing, for someone who was very critically ill, it really there's a danger to me dying whenever I do a critical care recovery or a terminal illness. This was a critical care recovery, and I had to do the critical care recovery for 2 people, and I still feel the chest pain slightly. It's improved a lot, but it's improving, and I'm self healing, and then I also get a flu and so forth, and I recover much quicker than antibiotics. So I don't need to take any antibiotics. I just continue my protocols and I'm fine. I hardly get sick. Yes, I'm blind, and that was according to my doctor. an adverse reaction to the COVID vaccine, right? Not my statement, according to my doctor. That's because we've done, fortunately, we did every possible test to rule out every other possibility, and we found nothing that's normally causes, blindness that caused my, blindness, which happened, after me taking the COVID vaccine as well, right? So they didn't want to directly blame that. They wanted to find every. So we did every, and I submitted to all that, and I could have, and I had to pay for the test, of course, right? And when I said I'm going, went blind, most of my friends and everyone were so surprised. How come? And not that I'm not sickly. I did, when I do get sick, I get extremely sick on very few occasions. And when I was around 38 years old, I had three heart attacks. The third one was a very severe one. And then I retook control of my life naturally. I was requested to go see the cardiologist and make an appointment, and obviously he's going to do a heart bypass. But I said, I know all my knowledge in, wellness and yoga. Let me try the natural ways first. And if that's not working and improving, and of course under medical supervision, then I would submit to, but I improved dramatically within a 6 month period, totally turned around, and my high blood pressure came back to normal. I was on insulin. I was insulin dependent diabetic for a period of 10 years at that stage, and taking 5 insulin injections a day, right? And I came completely off the insulin, right, under some medical supervision, of course. And I was on chronic high blood pressure tablets. I came off it completely. And I was on chronic cholesterol medication, and I came off that completely as well. They said all these medications I have to take for the rest of my life: insulin, high blood pressure tablets, and cholesterol tablets. And within 6 months after my major heart attack, when I took gain control, you know, through yoga practices and so forth, I turned my life around, and that happened like now 20 years ago, right? And it's the first time I'm experiencing chest pain when I do. So obviously, when I do critical care recovery, depending how sick they are, and I give my full energy, and I run the risk of losing my own life. And sometimes I become bedridden. There was one, I was bedridden for 2 weeks. I could not even go, I wasn't eating, of course, so I didn't need the toilet, but I could not. And I was drinking hydrating from a bottle of water next to me, and I needed the toilet because of that. I couldn't walk to the toilet. I couldn't crawl to the toilet. I had to drag myself on the floor with my elbows, and when I reached, like, raise myself and seat myself just to urinate, and come back, drag myself back to my bed. And I was living alone in my apartment. I had no one to help me or anything, right? At that time. That was after doing critical care recovery for three patients, together, consecutive, not consecutively, instantaneously, together, consistently, both, all of them together. And that nearly wiped me out. I felt the thread of my life. And so these things bring back my, health levels. And I mean, I practice my yoga, hatha yoga practice. I'm very flexible. I can sit in padmasana, and I'm standing on my head. I can stand on my head for like an hour, right? Of course, it's dangerous to go above 2 minutes. Maximum is 5 minutes for those who are, on an advanced level. But I'm doing this from childhood, and I didn't know better. I didn't know it was dangerous for a long time, when I learned it. And then I got used to it. But the day I had a teacher who was able to stand on his head for 12 hours every day. So he used to stand on his head and go into Samadhi and stay in Samadhi on his head, and then for a period of 12 hours, and then come down. So of course he doesn't feel the elapse of 12 hours when you're in Samadhi, but the body becomes so feather light, when you're, as you're advancing in yoga. So even when I'm lifting, I don't feel the weight of my body on my head, because my body feels very light. So when I'm teaching my students, I'm showing them how feather light that I am. I'm very flexible, feather light. When I was 16 years old, and now recently I was just running, I'm blind, but I got used to a certain, a set of stairs, and I just almost galloped down it, like I do, when I was a teenager and so forth. I said, wow, I got no arthritis, no joint pains, no this thing, and I'm still feeling the same energy levels as when I was a teenager. And I've been divorced now 6 times, and every time, when I'm married later and later, I had younger and younger wives, and the last one, uh, you know, I think most of them, they couldn't cope with my demand, my need, right? And of course, I didn't pressurize. When they say stop, stop, or no is no, right? I'm not an animal. I got control over myself, but my testosterone levels, now I'm 57 years old, I can go at it daily, right? So this is from the practice of the yoga protocols, right? So I'm giving the benefits first, then talking, what I'm doing, because you need to see it. So hardly getting sick, don't get the normal illnesses. Normally I get the flu, like I used to get it like, like sick, like really sick once in like 10 years or 13 years or so, right? When I need to visit a doctor. Very rarely do I visit the doctor. Like I'm normally visiting the doctor after like a decade usually, right? And I normally say that like, when I visit a doctor, the last time I visited a doctor was so many years ago. Right now, the last time I visited a doctor that I needed for, aside from normal tests, I just go for doing my blood tests and for checkups. But for illness purposes, the last time I visited a doctor for treatment, I believe was in 2018. It's now 2025, right? Including so 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 7 years ago. Right? So yes, I did get a flu and all that, but I'm getting better, on my own quicker than what antibiotics take, and I'm fine, right? Sometimes when I'm doing the pranayama or the kriya, the energy, right, raising the energy and dropping in my own body, at the end of it, I'm fine, right? The cough is gone and the flu symptoms, the fever is gone, right? Immediately after the kriya session, which normally takes me about an hour to do. And an hour later, before the hour, I was feeling very feverish, sick, coughing. Hour later, no fever, no cough, no nothing, right? And energy levels, and I'm not getting arthritis. I'm feeling there's no difference. Yes, of course, I know I'm aging and getting, because aging has to happen, right? But I'm not feeling the signs of age in my physiology, in my activity, and my limbness. When I was very young, I when I started yoga, I said, when I go into my old age, I don't want to be hunched, because I want to always be, and I will make sure that I practice the yoga exercises always. And I was focusing that one day I'm going to get old. I was around 9 years old when I'm thinking this way, right? When I was practicing yoga, I said, well, one day I'm going to get old. When I get old, I don't want to experience or to minimize as far as possible the symptoms of old age, right? So I am now, now I feel like when I go, if I have a 30-year-old girlfriend or something, that they are a bit too old for me, from a physical intimacy perspective. I need someone who's got more energy, right? Who can cope with my level of, energy. And even when I used to walk in the malls when my children were teenagers, right? And I was in my 40s, and they were like 16 and 15 years old and so forth. And I used to walk fast and they get tired and out of breath. I said, what is this? You're not fit, you're still young, right? But, the breath work is so amazing that there's a recent California study, 2025 study, the professor, right? I forgot his name. But he did the experiments on mice to remove the placebo effect of humans, right? And they found with the breath work of 30 minutes a day, will improve your longevity by up to 30%, and will improve your health factors by between 15 and 30%. So what is 30% longevity? Up to 30% longevity. If the average age, according to science now, is around 80 years old, 30% more is you can live another average of, let's say, 24 years, but let's say 25, a quarter of a century more, that 25 years, right? More, and fit and independent and living on your own and doing everything for yourself, right? And flexible. I'm 57, no arthritis pain, no nothing, right? And this is the amazing thing, and the flexibility from the yoga. My spine is still flexible, right? I can, still every day bring my forehead and, bury it between my two knees, legs outstretched, and shoulder stand and head stand and the plow posture, and then take my knees and drop it to between my two ears, right? Bring my legs over, and like twist myself into a noodle, so to speak, right? At this age, continuing it. And I didn't leave it for long periods of time. When I got back into it, it wasn't too difficult to get back, because it's still inherent in me. Because I don't want to lose that flexibility. I don't want to become rigid and, a problem. And my nervous system, it's the only system of exercises that, uh, you know, um, uh, offers therapeutic effect to the vagus nerve. Yoga postures, right? Scientifically proven, right? And the yoga postures, according to the latest 2025 scientific study, says it has a low to very low impact, but it does help in the treatment of patients in conjunction with medical treatment. It works very well. That is between 15 to 30% benefit of the yoga postures itself, right? And breath work, longevity, and then we come to karma yoga. Karma yoga is always trying to be helpful for others without looking for a reward. And from childhood, I always volunteered for, making sandwiches for the orphanages, where the, food scheme. And then we were building like charitable places. We offer our labor, and painting people's houses for free, and doing the gardens, washing the cars, and, helping. And you become such a pleasant person. You feel so good when you help people, in need, that they can't do the things themselves. I said, don't save your money, don't have to go to a car wash. I'll wash it for you, and so forth. And my father's car always washed us. I told my father, don't get your car washed by anyone. We will wash it. We are here for you, right? And we washed it whenever we were with him. We washed it for him, that he didn't need to, and keep it clean as a whistle. And he feels so nice going into a car so clean, and that his sons, cleaned it and so forth. And my garden, from childhood, planting vegetables and so forth, and we're giving it to the neighbors and so forth. And it's such a nice relationship, giving people just for the sake. It's like Christmas every day. Why should you be giving only in Christmas, right? You don't necessarily have to give money. You can give a smile, give your advice. When I was in school, I used to I was good at maths and physics, and a lot of students in my classes were very weak in it, from junior high upwards. From junior high upwards, I was offering free classes in maths and physics. And when we graduated high school, my class was the first class in the history of my school. And my school was very old. My uncle, my mother's brother, went to that same high school, right? That's how old that high school was, right? I don't, and it was the first time in the history of that high school that class, no one failed any subject. And the main subject that they fail is maths and science in our class, right? That no one failed anything, because I helped my fellow students for years, right? We eventually there were a lot of them, and for free. I never charged. I never even think to charge. Only now I'm realizing people make extra money, pocket money, from giving extra lessons and so forth. I'm teaching yoga now, 46 years of teaching. I never once charged money. My classes, for yoga classes that I hold, where physical classes and the students, is always free, right? Yes, I charge for energy healing and so forth, but for yoga, this is someone's birthright. And I feel so good. And I've changed so many people's lives. And I taught them protocols. I said, you know, you just have to do this simple protocols, right? A daily basis. And you will even meet your soulmate, because this balances your energy. So there was a girl, she was 32, and I wouldn't say girl, young lady, right? 32 years old, and she was eluding her, a relationship. She phoned me about a few months later, like about 6 to 12 months, about 6 or 7 months later, and said, you said I just have to practice this on a daily basis, and, just 15, 20 minutes at least, and I will even meet my soulmate. And I met someone so amazing, right? And there was another gentleman, he's 38 years old, he's a Greek gentleman. and the lady is an Australian lady, and there was a Greek gentleman, and I did a chakra unlocking for him, and he said, one thing eluded me is 38 years old that I just couldn't find the right person, relationship, I just couldn't find the right woman, and I never really have a proper serious, you know, proper relationship that I said that I would want to marry this person, right? And so I think 6 months later when I found him, and he said, I just got married, I just finished the paperwork, right? And he couldn't find someone, right? But he got so much of pride, he don't admit that it is my intervention, that did it. But I'm doing this for so many years. So okay, let's take my example, right? Of me, right? So I'm divorced 6 times, right? And I didn't get afraid to get divorced because I didn't feel I'm losing the world and the earth. That if things we reach a certain crossroads and we change and evolve, we got different pathways. We should rather, you know, part amicably. All my ex-wives, I can pick up the phone and have an amazing conversation with them, and we're not hating each other and through each other's guts and want to kill each other and all those things, right? We can, have a pleasant conversation and a decent. I didn't do anything, was never unfaithful or anything, right? With any of them, the circumstances came, and last year, this is in 2024, I had 25 marriage proposals to me, right? I now I'm in a situation of my life because after COVID, I lost my business and all these things during the COVID period, and broke, blind, old. Not, I don't think I'm like something amazing to look at, right? I'm not going to be, I wouldn't say I'm very ugly, but not, amazing to look at or something. And also, dark in complexion and so, but from all nationalities, Caucasian, Far East, East, I, from France, from Italy, from uh, Turkey, and marriage proposal to me, getting proposed to. I'm not encouraging. I'm just being myself, right? And of course, because I teach yoga, generally a lot of women are into it, and also I'm nuanced in my way of conversation because of advancements in yoga and meditation. Everyone has got male and feminine energy, both. So you come to a balance between your right and left brain as you advance in yoga, and you can relate very well to both men and women. And women love communication and people that they can relate to and people that they can trust and that they respect, right? And I'm someone who's a very upstanding type of person. I'm very clear, I'm very honest and, open and, pleasant as well, and always willing to offer help. So karma yoga opens up doorway and you're helpful. And hatha yoga I mentioned, pranayama I mentioned, then the other aspect is, my great friend is the Kriya practice, right? The energy, that the Kundalini energy that I'm developing ever since I learned to develop it. So in the last 7 years, I've developed the increment up to level. Today I reached level 727 levels above the first level that I first originally awakened the Kundalini, right? This is how high that energy is. And what I'm doing with that energy, I saved so many lives. I've saved so many. I mean, now I'm suffering, I did a recent double critical care recovery, together in conjunction with each other, and suffering, that, and it'll take several weeks, maybe a month or two, and of course it's reduced a lot, over the past few days. But I had, and I'm able to recover it in just that hour. When I have this week, few days ago, I had a heavy fever and sore throat and flu symptoms and coughing, and I did the protocol. An hour later, there was zero fever after the protocol, energy Kriya protocol, right? There was no fever, there was no coughing, and no headache, and no fear, no, I was feeling fine, and throat pain and all was gone, right? I, of course, not always. Sometimes it takes 3 days, but it happened quickly, and I'm helping myself heal myself, not only myself, so many other people. I'm helping. But I remember when I learned to do the energy healing on a master level, I first did the healing on myself. There were 30 illnesses that I didn't even know I had, because I had like some type of skin, from childhood, that was peeling off the underneath of my feet, that completely vanished. There was on the side of my nose like some type of, like a fungal, very mild thing, like a rash used to always come there, very mild use, not really visible. It disappeared, right? And there was like a skin problem that I had, in my arm. It disappeared. I had some scar tissue, in my stomach. One of my ex-wives was very, I like a dominant woman and aggressive woman. She scratched me like a tiger scratch mark across my abdomen. The marks were there, and then the Kriya practice, they disappeared. Of course, I got a bite mark in the back of my shoulder, right? By another woman, right? She was very angry and bit the flesh open, right? And that scar, I believe, is still there. I mean, I'm blind now. I must ask. I'm not feel shy to open my shirt and tell people, is the mark still there? But the last time I checked, the mark was still there about a year ago, right? The mark was still there. That's gone. But I mean, removed some of my minor scars. And I mean, earlier this year there was a young lady. I removed a facial scars. Right, she was a good friend of mine, and she had suddenly had a burst of acne, and said, "Oh, Osman, I got this thing, and it's got scars in my face, and she's such a beautiful woman, and she really looks like a princess, and she's got this porcelain skin, pure snow white, and but Arabic woman, but amazing beauty, right? Arabic beauty, and she told me, and I did, and it disappeared. The scars went away, the acne went away, and the scars went away. And I also did acne removal. Someone who had severe acne scars in the face, and even laser treatment couldn't remove it, and I was able to remove that as well. With my energy healing. So the Kriya isn't that a great friend? My pranayama, isn't that a great friend? My Hatha yoga, isn't that a great friend? My karma yoga, isn't that a great friend? I'm getting 25 marriage proposals last year. This year I must just come. I stayed away from the female circle this year, but I had a few that I encountered. They really open. And the good thing is I'm clairsentient. I know what the women are thinking. You know that's an advantage. I know how to speak as well, right? That's a big advantage as well. But I mean, isn't that wouldn't who doesn't want to take up yoga, right? And then my innovativeness and thinking, because your brain really opened my memory functions where now I'm blind, and I need to memorize many things, right? So sometimes there's a long card number that I have to input, to make an online payment. So I memorize the card number using my screen readers and so forth. One time, my friend will say, okay, let me send it to you, you can I said, no, just tell me one time. It tells me a long 10-digit number one time. Okay, I got it. And then I go online, I put the number, right? My memory functioning, because it's not possible, and I don't have stress, right? I'm like in a state of alpha all the time, as though I'm on weed and I'm smoked up, right? I feel so calm and serene all the time, right? So this is from my friend's yoga. So the seven aspects to yoga, right? Another aspect which is very controversial and debatable is religion, right? I'm always faith-based. I believe there's a God and so forth, and I respect those who don't believe in a God, who are anti-religious. But let me bring scientific aspect, epidemiological study. If you know what epidemiology means, this study was done over a 50-year period across the globe, over hundreds of thousands or millions of people, and they found that those who have belief from a scientific perspective, in a religion, either Christian or Hindu or Jewish or Buddhist or um, Muslim, believed in some form of religion, they had a 30 up to 30% less chance, between 15 and 30% less chance of getting illnesses that are, especially the major ones like heart attacks, cancer, and neurological problems like brain Parkinson's, and dementia and all these things, right? That people get, with old age. 15 to 30% less preponderance of the illnesses, 15 to 30% greater lifespan, and 15 to 30% reduced stress levels. Man, if only for that reason, no problem. I don't have to believe I'm going to go to church every week or I'm going to go to mosque every time, right? Just for that reason, for the health reasons, right? It's significant. It's going to make an impact in your life, right? You normally find Christian people and so forth a little bit happier, more smiles. I mean, do you want to be grumpy or happy, right? Up to you, right? Okay, up to your choice, right? Not forcing you into anything. So religion is bhakti yoga, karma yoga, hatha yoga I've mentioned, pranayama I've mentioned, then kriya I've mentioned. Then comes meditation. You know, when I came to Islam, I didn't want to do things meditation which can be construed as blasphemy in the religion and so forth. And I was new to the religion that time, and I stopped doing formal meditation. But we did meditation in form of prayer or dhikr, or reciting the names of God and so forth. Focusing on it in that way. But when I got very ill in 2018, and I had severe neuropathy, from my knee downwards. I said, let me just try sitting meditating for 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, only in that one meditation, I felt a reduction of so much of my neuropathy, significantly and noticeably. Then I said, no, this is healthy. And later on, I found out that there's so much, over 50,000 scientific papers saying the benefit of meditation, that it improves the reduction, I mean, it reduces stress levels, it helps in soothing the nervous system, helps reduce the effect of illnesses on your chronic ailments by between 15 and 30%, right? Meditation. And it's an amazing practice. So this is the sixth thing, right? Dhyana, meditation, right? Mindfulness practice, right? And the one that I can't, there is no scientific or empirical evidence, is mantra yoga, right? So that is still something, but it boosts my kriya practice. I was, escalating in my energy level every 2 weeks from 7 years ago. And when I introduced an Islamic mantra that is very strong, it doesn't have to be, it can be, a Hindu mantra or your own mantra, right? But it has to be a known powerful mantra, right? So you get the tantric mantras that are known powerful, and the Quran, the whole Quran is said to be powerful, and I found it very powerful, right? Introducing that, it increased the rate at which my energy was increasing, my kriya, my kundalini energy, from twice a month to every day. Means by 15 times more, it increases the rate at which so how is that beneficial? That is beneficial because with the rate of increase of my energy from 7 years ago, and then about 3 years ago, I was reasonably high. I was able to remove things that even medical science and medical doctors, that all medical treatments failed. With there was a lady from Russia. She had a pain in her arm that was there for, I think, 30 years or something, right? And she said she went to China, she went to all type of medical, no one could remove. If I can, I said, no, I will remove it. And it took me about 4.5 hours of therapy, right? And at the end of it, it was gone. She absolutely could not believe, and I only charged her that time $50. And she felt, of course, she's Russian, she felt even $1 is too much, right? And she said, if you could remove it, I'll pay you. And I removed it, and she paid me with, like, she and it was in a hotel environment, and I was working in that hotel and offering free yoga meditation classes, in that hotel. And she checked out. She was supposed to say, she checked out because she thought I've got some type of evil spirit or something. But it's no spirit, it's the energy level. And what took me 4.5 hours to treat that time, about a month ago, took me 4 minutes to treat the same thing. Because my energy is increasing incrementally. What boosted it was the mantra. And that increased my energy level so much that it's increasing the speed, of course, increasing the number of things that I could So now I believe that I can, of the total of around 18,000 known illnesses, I believe I can cure or remedy or help improve the management of, after you be careful, I'm not replacing medical treatment, right? Help improve the conditions in 16,200 illnesses. And medical science, by the way, has got a cure for 4,000 of those illnesses, right? They don't have a cure for 14,000 illnesses. So the natural methods are important for where medical science has not yet caught up, right? And even the ones that are there is medical treatment, I always insist that in conjunction with medical treatment to offer the natural therapy. And this is amazing. It helps amazingly. There's a doctor, oncologist, Dr. Dawn Muselem for Mayo Clinic in the US. She is oncologist known as the magic bullet because she qualified first as a natural therapies, did a degree in natural treatments, and then she wanted to give the full ambit of treatment. Then she went back to medical school, qualified as a doctor, and became a specialist oncologist. And in the cancer ward, she hardly loses a cancer patient, because in addition to the cancer treatment, she also gives the natural therapies, and this improves the recovery rate. Her name is the magic bullet. So the natural therapies, including nutrition. So I've given you seven of this. These are my best friends. They've been with me all my life, and they've helped me through very stressful situations. I've been through, yes, six divorces. They were very heartbreaking and not easy, and especially that when you're breaking up, you're also losing your connection with your children, and so it's very heartrending. And running a business and losing so many businesses, major losses in the COVID period, and losing my eyesight as well, and still continuing with my mission of creating my energy healing and yoga meditation as a full-time business. you know uh, uh, as I'm still continuing with it, right? And I'm still okay. I don't sound like I'm in need of psychotherapy or psychiatric help or depression. And so yes, I do get sad, things happen, but I get over it very quickly, right? In minutes, right? I get over it and I move on and I focus on the positive things. I take my mind away from the negative things. Of course, if I dwell on it, I want to keep crying and breaking myself. There are things that we can change. Some things we can change, some things we cannot change. And we have to also have the wisdom to know the difference. The serenity prayer that I learned from Alcoholics Anonymous, not that I'm an alcoholic, but in case I'm an alcoholic, I used to attend those meetings just because my mom said, be wary of alcohol and women, right? So I studied both women and alcohol very deeply. And the best woman book on to know women is Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Amazing book. You'll understand women very well, that way. Or men for that matter, right? Women, because they explain both, right? Both sides. So increasing my knowledge, and I've come a long way, in my life. And the main thing is, despite my problems, I enjoyed each and every day. I was happy. I met the challenges. I've got new goals, new challenges. And yes, there are things. I'm not living in the future. I'm living in the present, in the today. And my life is, if I die tomorrow, and I've been saying this for decades already, if I say, if I ever die, know that I lived my life to the fullest. Even when I reached the age of 21, I used to tell my friends, I live, even if I die now, I live my life to the fullest. I enjoyed my relationships, and I enjoyed partying, and I enjoyed everything, right? I till today, I'm now 57, right? Of course, I'm living a healthy, active lifestyle, and not a party animal, and not promiscuous and all these things, right? Like I engage in one relationship at a time, right? And so forth, and faithful always, and good, and moving on, and amazing life, even now I even tell, if ever I die, I had amazing life squared, x squared, right? X times. You say, some people say they are nervous and then they X nervous. I had amazing life, X amazing, X amazing, right? So why don't you want to do that? And the thing that has been my longest is my seven friends, my seven major protocols in yoga, right? Bhakti yoga, karma yoga, hatha yoga, pranayama, kriya yoga, meditation or dhyana yoga or raja yoga, right? And the seventh one, mantra yoga, right? These are my 7 friends that, I mean, mantra was the first thing at the age of 19 that I got my first samadhi. I didn't expect, and I got my samadhi from it, right? Samadhi experience, right? And changed my life, right? Changed who I am and made me, I was always peaceful, and because I tasted what is uh, a very high level of amazing experience, right? So hope that motivates you and helps you as well. Take care of yourself always.